If you have not heard of Studio McGee yet, let me tell you. Shay McGee and her team of designers are absolutely incredible. Every design that they put together is just stunning, like so rich and classic and full of detail. Definitely high end and just so absolutely beautiful. With Studio McGee's style, they mix a little bit of old, a little bit of new, a little bit of this style, a little bit of that style. Every time it just comes together. And today's project that we're going to be looking at of Studio McGee's is called the Park City Contemporary. I don't have words for this design, like I really don't, because if I were to put my dream kitchen and living room in words and in a visual design, it would be this one. I cannot wait to digest this design with you. So for today's video, let's review the color palette that was used, the natural materials and elements that are seen throughout the home. Overall, let's just take a look at some of the designer tips that we can learn from this project. Starting off with the style of the room, to me, I definitely pick up contemporary, hence it's in the name of the project, modern and Scandinavian vibes for this overall design. Contemporary, definitely, because the art above the sofa, that's a contemporary piece of art, also with the natural color palette and bits of boldness sprinkled through the design. And then modern Scandinavian, again, the color palette, you got black, you got white, very warm, earthy, you got earthy elements, natural items in the home with the plants, with the stone, all very natural, which we know in the Scandinavian design style, bringing nature indoors. I definitely feel that in this design. And I'd really like to dive into the color palette just because I think for this design project in particular, the color palette steals the show and my heart. It steals my heart too. When looking at the color palette, the very first thing that I tend to look at and where my eye goes is the focal point in the room, which is this absolutely stunning stone fireplace. And the first thing I notice is that the colors are all varied in the color of the stone. But with that, I notice it really warms up this space. So therefore, my eye kind of goes to, well, where else is it warm in the room? Where else is there some color that evokes the warmth in the room? You see it in the rust caramel colored accent chairs, any of the wood tones, whether it be the vases or the bottom of the accent chair, or even some of the shelf decor. You have the woven baskets, some of the vases, all a bit warm and all feeding into that color. After I take a glance at the focal point, notice the warmth, the next thing that I notice is this space is really bright. So then I start to notice all the neutrals, the whites, the off-whites, and so that's indicated in the space. You have the hearth of the fireplace, the surrounding of the fireplace. In the art itself is also white. Some of the stone has some lighter, whiter off-white colors. The cabinetry is this beautiful creamy off-white color. You have the white lamp, white sofa, and then you have an off-white pedestal that's holding up the vase with the branches. All in all, you definitely have that neutral white color going on in the room. There's warmth, it's bright. Now I notice there's a little bit of boldness in the room. The black. So you see the black detailing one in the art and the hanging pendant above, which I think is a brilliant design choice. I think that just complements the room so well. I love the circularness of it. You have the black detailing in the fireplace naturally. You have it on the shelf decor, a little bit on the vases, and then also on the back of the throw blanket for the back of the sofa. So that's just, again, great detailing of that black. And then lastly, you have that in between with, it's kind of like an ashy wood or like a gray brown tone. Like a bit of all of that is definitely sprinkled out through and through. But I guess as you sit deeper in the room, those are the colors that you start to notice a bit more. So the tip here with the color palette, and I think that we can learn from looking at all of this, is to incorporate different tones and shades of the color for layered depth in the room. So of course these colors were, reflected throughout the whole room, right? You have the black, the white, but it wasn't all one type of black or all one type of white. It was a little bit of off-white or that caramel rust color. It wasn't just all wood tones. Some of the wood tones were varied, or you had the wood tone reflected with the rust in the upholstery of the accent chairs. So completely different materials, but the colors still go together, but they're not exact. So that's a designer tip that we can really pick up. We can also see that the colors reflect in the kitchen. You have the mink in the counters, you have this dark gray in the bar stools, the dark gray oven range above, and then you also have the ashy brown in the dining table, and then that mink color is also reflected in the upholstery on the dining chairs. And going into the kitchen, can I just point out how amazing this looks? Like, this is my kitchen. I don't know whose kitchen this is, but this should be my kitchen. I absolutely love how the colors just run through. You can tell it's modern. There's modern fixtures and pieces. It feels very new, but there's also some imperfect moments. And I think that's the next designer tip, is to sprinkle in some imperfectness where it feels so perfect and so clean and all the lines are just so straight. So for example, the vase, you can have some distress in your vase, or even the bowl on top of the counter. It's not like a perfectly round wooden bowl. It's a little odd shaped and it's a little aged looking. So I think that's also a common denominator that I found with all of the wood like accents in the room. They all didn't really feel so perfect. They felt a bit antique. So I really liked that combination of the old with the new. The other thing I really appreciated about this overall design and what makes it so cohesive is earlier we talked about the Scandinavian design style and bringing nature indoors, and you can definitely see how the nature is brought in through the branches. You have moss, you have plants, the wood, that's an organic material. You also had the stone from the fireplace, again another very natural material, and that's just what makes it feel so fresh. It's such a balance of new and modern, but with like a breath of fresh air with nature and imperfectness. And that's just what I love about this space. So I think that we can pick up repeating elements and colors in multiple spaces. So if you have like in this room, like it's one long, large room, it's nice to reflect it in the room next over just because it's visible. So you have that cohesion and repetition, mixing perfect with imperfect. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out here, and this is a tip, is using decor where it's unexpected, but that it also serves a function. So prime example is if you notice in one of the photos in the shelf, it has a very teeny tiny lamp. And of course that lamp needs source, and I don't know about you, but I have a ton of outlets in my kitchen. They're not cute, but a great thing to do is to cover them up. And what can you do? You can use cutting boards as shown in this photo. So I thought that was brilliant because the cutting boards are bringing that wood tone, introducing that color into the room, serving as decor, but they're also functional. One, they're hiding the outlet, and two, it's perfect for the kitchen. You're gonna need to grab your cutting board. So I thought that was a great example of how we can decorate in our kitchen and incorporate the color palette and have decor be functional. With that, I'm gonna try to link as much as I can find below down for you. So just in case you're trying to get this look or you saw something that you're like, I need this for my home, I will definitely try to find links for you. With that, definitely check out some of my other videos where I did design. I do design, but I also have some other videos where I reviewed some other designer homes. So definitely check out those other videos. One of them was another Studio McGee room. And if you do want some personalized one-on-one design help with your home, you can definitely see more about that below. I do e-designs where I can do a mock-up of what your room would look like fully decorated. So that way you know exactly how to achieve that look. So definitely see more about that below. I'd love to work with you. And with that, comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite about this room, what you loved. I loved all of it. And with that, I will see you next time. Bye guys.